Howdy, my name is Leonard Rivera, and this is my change model and theory presentation for Dr. Harlan's ALID 440, Section 701, Leading Change class at Texas A&M University, College Station, Texas. Periods of budget stringency and unparalleled opportunities for reform leaders to implement changes in the bureaucracy, to make structural and cultural reforms, to increase efficiency, and to reallocate resources to new priorities. In Robert Gates's book, A Passion for Leadership, he describes many of the challenges he faced as a leader while serving as the Director of Central Intelligence, Secretary of State, and President of Texas A&M University. My topic for this presentation will cover a change event that Robert Gates led while he was the president of Texas A&M. He accomplished two of his highest priorities for change while staying within the same budget. He was able to do this because he implemented a change process much like the one Dr. Kurt Lewin described in the 1940s. Lewin's model for change is still a relevant process for today's change leaders. Let's take a look at Kurt Lewin's unfreeze, change, freeze model and how it applies to this situation. In order for Gates to achieve two of his top priorities, he needed to implement major change, and his main constraint was budget. Kurt Lewin's unfreeze, change, and freeze process best describes the financial changes made by Gates towards his priorities to expand the faculty and increase minority recruitment. We will now take a look at the first of three phases in Lewin's process. Phase 1 is unfreeze. Gates said, tight or reduced budgets afford the reformer an important weapon for forcing change. Gates wielded a constrained budget with great effect when he set his priorities on creating an additional 450 new faculty positions and expanding the recruitment of minorities. He set out specific and focused goals for his team to work towards during the unfreeze phase of this process. Now we take a look at how Gates displayed the second part of Lewin's process, change. Phase 2 is change. According to Gates, he eliminated 400 staff positions, creating a recurring savings of $12 million. He reduced utility costs by 25%, resulting in a savings of $9 million. He also acquired special appropriations of $20 million from the Texas legislature. Adding up to approximately $40 million, he reapportioned to institute his changes. Phase 3 is freeze. This is where accountability must be an essential part of the leader's playbook. According to Gates, allowing those close to retirement to leave gracefully, enforcing a hiring freeze, and weeding out poor performers, he utilized these tactics to make his reforms, gaining the support and buy-in from the university staff and students as a whole. This would allow his changes to endure. Lewin's model satisfied the need for change, changing the way business is done. These cost-cutting measures did not reduce the university budget, but through administrative reforms and efficiencies, we are able to free significant dollars to fund major improvements in the university. Now that we've discussed how Gates utilized Lewin's model for change, let's take a look at how other models and theories compare. Cotter's process, his present-day 8-step process, focuses on how to create, implement, and sustain change in an organization which actually developed from his original 8-step process, which focused on why businesses did not want to change. Rogers' diffusion of innovation is aimed at the propensity for new innovations, mainly products, to be adopted by consumers in the economic market. He describes 5 groups based on adoption rate and how they make up the market share of consumers. Van de Ven and Poole explain 4 families of ideal type theories of social change. These types of change processes interoperate at different levels and during different stages of change with each other to initiate, mate, and continue the change. Now that we have a general overview of these other models and theories, let's take a closer look at Kotter's model. Kotter's 8-step process: create a sense of urgency, build guiding coalition, form a strategic vision and initiative, enlist a volunteer army, enable action by removing barriers, generate short-term wins, sustain acceleration, and finally institute change. The similarities I found here are the urgency for that change and the vision and initiatives, and also finally making the change or instituting this change. The differences I found are the complexity in this 8-step process, which is very time consuming and requires immediate supervision or specialized supervision that could probably best be performed from an outside consulting business, which is where Kotter's strengths are. Next, let's look at Rogers' diffusion of innovation. The key differences I found with this model is the purpose of change is aimed at consumers buying new products. This model may be useful dealing with change in production, economic markets, and also more useful for emerging businesses. This model is non-sustainable and does not have a manageable sustainment process as found in even Kotter's process, which is why it would not apply to the situation Gates dealt with at Texas A&M. Next, we will take a closer look at Van de Ven and Poole's families of ideal type theories of social change. Families of Ideal Type Theories of Social Change by Van de Ven and Poole. First, we will talk about evolution. We use evolution in a more restrictive sense to focus on cumulative changes in structural forms of populations of organizational entities. Key metaphor: competitive survival, generating force, scarcity, and competition. Next one is dialectic. Dialectic: the organizational entity exists in a pluralistic world of colliding events, forces, or contradictory values that compete with each other for domination and control. Furthermore, a dialectical theory requires two or more distinct entities that embody these oppositions to confront and engage one another in conflict. Key metaphor here is opposition and conflict. Generating force, conflict between two opposing forces or interests. Third one is life cycle. Management scholars adopted the metaphor of organic growth and startup bursts, adolescent growth, maturity, decline, or death. The key metaphor here is organic growth. The generating force is prefigured program or rule regulated by institution. The last one is teleology, philosophical doctrine that purpose or goal is the final cause for guiding movement of an entity. The key metaphor: purposeful cooperation, a generating force, goal enactment, consensus on means, cooperation, and symbiosis. Similarities here: multiple change priorities, multiple level change efforts, flexibility. Differences I found was, again, complexity, difficult to monitor, and time consuming. If no additional resources are available or if budgets are cut, then higher priorities, new initiatives, and new requirements must be funded by changing the way business is done or by eliminating less important programs. We have reviewed why I believe Kurt Lewin's unfreeze, change, and freeze model best applies to Gates' successful reforms at Texas A&M. We have also taken a look at a few other models, theories, and discovered why I did not believe they best apply. A great burden rests on anyone wanting to lead change. A leader must have decisive action, determination, and commitment to seeing changes through until the end. Having a structure to initiate, implement, and sustain that change is essential to any leader's success. Kurt Lewin's unfreeze, change, and freeze model is one of the best models to use. Thank you for your time and attention during my presentation. I look forward to your comments. Thank you. Have a great day.